everyone, and welcome to my Japanese Wind Waker playthrough thing where I don't know, read all the words for you, explain grammar hopefully, and, you know, talk about maybe interesting things I notice and whatnot. Yeah, if you're new to the channel, then there should be a text document where everything's written out, all of the text that we come across in this video and all the other videos. Although I did stop doing it for Banjo-Kazooie and I haven't bothered to go back and finish it, unfortunately. But there you go. So right here at the start, we've got some words and stuff. We've got data sentaku. So data is data, and sen-taku is selection, basically. Both mean sort of to select, but yeah, together they just mean selection. Kind of weird. And then we have tabi no kiroku ichi. Tabi meaning a trip or a journey. No, just a particle that links words together. Kiroku, basically meaning a record. That is literally it, isn't it? Kiroku is record. And then one is one. And then we have hajime kara. Hajime here is the stem of the verb hajimeru. Hajimeru means to begin something. It means to start something, to start doing something. And the stem, usually when you use the stem of a verb, it makes it into a noun. So rather than to start doing something, it just means start. And kara is from, and comes after the word it's applied to. So from the start is what that means. And then we have, of course, kette, which is kind of to decide upon and set. So that's kind of the two kanji combined. Not that this is kanji, of course, but yeah, that's the two kanji combined. Is ket? Well, actually, is it? Yeah, ketsu is one reading of this kanji, which is to decide, and te is to sort of to set or to be preset, and it has quite a few meanings, I guess. But anyway, we want this. And of course we have starto, meaning start, copy, meaning copy, kesu, meaning erase, and modoru, meaning to go back. And we're going to start up. And here we have namae nyuryoku. Namae, na meaning name, mae meaning before. Namae. Namae just means name, basically, together, doesn't it? I don't know if it specifies first name or like surname, because people will usually tell you both if you ask for that, namae, or maybe just their surname even, so I don't actually know. And then nyuryoku, weirdly, means like input, even though this means sort of enter, and this means power. For some reason, nyuryoku means input, to input, to type. So we're going to go with eisu, meaning, this one means England, and this one means number. So it's like English symbols and numbers, I guess. Eisu. And very maturely, we're going to call ourselves omae. And I'm doing this in Romaji because then it will be clear whether we are being called by our name or whether someone is calling us the potentially rude pronoun omae, which should be written in katakana or hiragana, whereas our name will be in Romaji. Oh, here we go. Oh man, I'm annoyed. There's furigana. Furigana is this hiragana above the kanji that tells you how to pronounce the characters. The kanji here, obviously this one, and you know these two and everything. You know, it tells you how to pronounce them. When I can, I'm going to turn that off because I think it will be more distracting than helpful. The only way to, you know, to learn to read kanji is to read kanji. So if we rely on this, I figure, you know, we'll constantly be looking at this instead of the kanji characters, and so I think they're going to be very distracting. So we're going to turn the furigana off as soon as we can. But here we have hito, bito. This character here stands in for this character again. So when you have two characters the same in a row, like in this case, hito, bito, that should be this one twice. But it looks kind of ugly, so the Japanese, they use this symbol to mean the previous kanji again. You'll see that on, you know, things like hito, bito, toki doki, maybe like hibi. Does hibi do it? Or hibi might do it. Anyway, yeah, sometimes they use the same character twice in a row, and this symbol stands in for that happening. And hito bito is obviously person twice. Obviously on this he here, they've just put a dakuten because sometimes that phenomenon just happens in Japanese. Sometimes things are easier to say if you apply the dakuten. So for this one, first time is hi, this one second time is bi. But yeah, hito bito. Means person twice, therefore people, kind of, people. And then ni katari tsugareru. This is complicated. Shinwa no naka ni konna hanashi ga arimasu. Hito bito ni katari tsugareru shinwa. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. This ni here is a particle. In this case, we have this whole thing after it. It's like, it's kind of a whole verb. It's got two kanji in it. It's kind of two verbs mixed together, but it, you know, kind of, it's basically one verb. And this is passive, which means that something, this verb is done to something. That doesn't really clarify at all, does it? Okay, never mind. But yeah, anyway, when verbs are passive, ni tends to mean by. So by the people is what's going on here. By the people. And then katari tsugu would be, I guess, to katari tsugu. It's sort of like to, kataru is like to talk, and tsugu is to either to be passed down through generations or to pass something down through generations. I'm not actually sure if that's transitive or intransitive. Just in case that doesn't make much sense to you, transitive verbs need an object for the verb to happen to it, whereas intransitive verbs don't. They don't take objects. So it's quite a negative example, but for example, to die is intransitive because you cannot die someone else. The transitive verb, of course, is kill because you can kill others, but die is an intransitive verb because you cannot die other things. But yeah, anyway, so this is katari tsugu, meaning to tell and pass down. But because it's passive, it's tsugareru. And all of this information, all of this, by the people told and passed down, is modifying this next word, which is shinwa, meaning literally God story. But, you know, a much better translation, much less literal one, I guess, would be like, you know, kind of fairy tales or legends, something like that. So they are legends that are passed down by the people. And then we have na, naka. Not again. I said again. Should I have said again? I don't know if we've seen this yet. No, it's just linking this to this. And naka means inside or within, or in this case, among. So among kind of the legends that are passed down by the people. Ni is just a particle, I guess, meaning in. I guess kind of doubling up on the within. It's like the in of within, I suppose. Weirdly, it's just needed. Don't worry about it. So yeah, among the legends passed down by the people, konna hanashi ga arimasu. Konna meaning like this, like such a, and like this. It's sort of that kind of. It sort of means sort. No, does it mean sort of? This sort of is what this means. This sort of. And then hanashi meaning story, so this sort of story, and then arimasu, the obviously polite form of aru, meaning to exist. So this sort of story exists among the legends passed down by the people. And here we have sono mukashi. To be honest, I don't know what sono is doing. I feel like sono is just relating it back to what was said before. So it's like saying that. That's basically what it means. Sono means that. But it's kind of just, relating it to the thing before. So this... Or I might be wrong, actually. It might be this all might be just a way of saying... long ago, because mukashi means a long time ago, right? Many fairy tales start with mukashi, meaning long, long ago, and continue on afterwards. Sono mukashi, I guess, related to that long ago or something. Sorry about my viber there. And we have kamigami, so we have this, the same kanji again mark coming in, and we also have the same phenomenon again of ka-mi and then ga-mi. So we just get a dakuten on this one. Kamigami meaning gods, and then na just linking the gods to the chikara, which means power. So, and in this case it's possessive, so it's the god's power, and then ga, just a particle. I wouldn't worry too much about ga, to be honest, although I'm sure you definitely are, but never mind. Nemuru, meaning to sleep, and then to iwareta. To is basically a quotation particle, so I guess it's just kind of taking... Hold on. Sono mukashi kamigami no chikara ga nemuru to iwareta. Okay, I feel like the quote is kind of starting on kami here and ending at nemuru. And it's kind of quoting it. And then we have the verb iu, or it should be iu, or you, as they would say, of course, you. I and then u. But this is passive again. And it's past tense. So we've got all sorts going on here. So instead of being you, it would be iwareru if it was just passive. But it is also past, so instead of iwareru, it's iwareta. So we've got basically said, and then what the quote was. All of this information. So, like, the power of the gods was said to sleep, but then all of that information is modifying this word, which is okoku, meaning not God, king country, or less literally kingdom. So we've basically got a kingdom where it was said that the god's power slept, or kind of existed or rested, or where it slept. And then we have ga arimashita, which is the kind of proper past tense of aru, meaning to exist. So a kingdom existed where it was said that the god's power slept. And then sono mukashi, I think, is just saying, long ago, there existed a kingdom. It's not part of the quote, is what I'm saying. Okay, it's probably enough for that text box. We've got loads to do, and I don't think we're going to get any further than the the intro cutscene. Then we have sono kuni wa midori yutaka na utsukushii tokoro deshita ga. So sono kuni, as I said, sono means like that, so that country, and then wa just brings it up as the topic. So we're about to talk about that country, is kind of all wa does in this case. Wa has other uses, but yeah, we won't worry about them now. Then we have midori, yutaka. Midori is green, and yutaka is like to be rich in, or to be rich with. So rich with green, or of course less literally, kind of, you know, I don't even know, fertile, like just very, very green and natural, and you know, trees and fields, you know, just nice with greenness, blessed with greenness, I guess. And this is, yeah, this is kind of a word, midori yutaka. It's kind of a word, these two characters combined together. It's an adjective, and we know it's a na adjective because we have a na after it. Na adjectives are essentially just adjectives that you have to put a na after to then put a noun. So midori yutaka na kuni would be a rich with green country. But this is kind of weird here, actually, because they're saying midori yutaka na and then utsukushii. And utsukushii is the other type of adjective. Utsukushii is an e adjective because in its default form, before it gets conjugated, it ends in e like this. And utsukushii means beautiful. And then we have tokoro, meaning a place, basically, just a place that you can visit. But then again, I suppose it also means like a place in a sense of a point. People have bad tokoros, I guess, on themselves, maybe, or yeah. So it's kind of, you know, not necessarily a place. It might be a, you know, a part of a person or a part of one's personality even. But yeah, anyway. And then deshita, just the past tense of des. So saying it was a beautiful and, you know, luscious is probably what I should say, place. And then ga at the end means but. And the reason I said this was odd is because usually when you have a lists of adjectives, na adjectives take de instead of na. So it should, in my ignorant non-native speaker opinion, be midori yutaka de utsukushii tokoro deshita. But maybe that's not the case. Maybe you can put na if you only have one adjective. Maybe you can put na if you want anyway. I don't know, but yeah, that's where we are. So yeah, so that country was a luscious, beautiful place, but ashiki mono ni me o tsukerare. Don't know why I roll my arse like that, sorry about that. Me wo tsukerare kamigami no chikara o ubawarete. I did it again, sorry. Ubawarete shimaimashita. Okay, we've got a lot going on here. We've got a few passive verbs. Ashiki. This is a bit weird. I think this is just kind of old language. Yeah, I don't know, man. Ashiki is maybe kind of an old word. Maybe. This kanji can be read as warui. And I know that in Zelda you quite often see these words, like you often see e adjectives ending with ki instead of e. So I get the impression it's an old Japanese thing. It might have a slightly different nuance and might still be usable today, but in my experience, yeah, I see ki instead of e at the end of e adjectives a lot in Zelda and stuff. But in this case, I think ashiki, I don't think that is an e adjective. I don't think it can be ashi. So I think maybe it's just this word is special. Not sure. But then mono, meaning being or person, basically. Yeah, person. And then ni, this ni here again is acting as by, because this next bit is kind of a passive verb. So by an evil person, me wo tsukerare. And this ideally would be me wo tsukeru, which I think is basically to affix one's eyes to something. Me is eyes, and tsukeru is kind of to, yeah, basically to affix, I think. So he obviously, this is talking about Ganon, of course. He obviously, it caught his eye, and then it, I guess, it maintained his gaze, sort of thing. He kept his eye on it, sort of thing. Let's just see what male tsukeru is, because it might give a better explanation than I am. Oh no, it is to have an eye on, to zero in on. Okay, male tsukeru. And this is, again, passive. And it's weird, this, because this is kind of the passive stem. It should be me o tsukerareru. But we haven't got the ru on the end. We've just got me o tsukerare, which is one way to allow a sentence to continue on after a verb. Because usually Japanese, of course, usually sentences end with the verb. So if you don't want to end a sentence, then you have to kind of either do this, use the stem, or use what's called the te form, which looks like we're going to talk about here anyway. So we'll talk about that there. And then we have kami gami no chikara o. So obviously, again, the god's power. Ubawarete shimaimashita. This verb here is ubau. It should be ubau, but it's passive, so it's not ubao. It's different. But the base verb is ubao. And here we have the te form of the passive, which is going to be fun. So we have ubawarete, and te, as I said, has a lot of functions. This verb kind of doesn't have a tense until what follows it. Te form kind of doesn't have a tense. But in this case, the te form is allowing us kind of to modify the verb a bit further and add different nuances or meanings to it. And in this case, we've got shimaimashita, which is the polite past tense of shimao. And usually when you put shimau after the te form of a verb, it means that that verb was done undesirably. So to someone it was undesirable, usually the speaker. So whoever's written, or is, whoever's telling us this, considers the action of the god's power being like snatched, being snatched and sort of taken away and stolen. They consider that to be an undesirable thing that happened. So they're saying ubawarete shimaimashita. Which, as I said, mashita just basically makes it past and polite. So on the whole here, we've got by an evil person, sort of eyes were caught, I suppose. Eyes were caught. Is that even right? Hold on, let me rethink that. Yeah, no, it's more like fixated, I suppose, isn't it? Like, by an evil person, the eyes were fixated. Again, it's very literal, I know, but there you go. And then kami gami no chikara wo ubawarete shimaimashita, meaning, the power of the gods was undesirably stolen by that being, we can assume, by that person. Okay. Okay. And then we've got ashiki chikara ni yori okoku wa yami ni tsutsumare. So again with the passive. Okay, so ashiki chikara ni yori. That's interesting that we've got yori here, as I don't feel like that really makes any difference. Again, we've got ni acting as by because we have a passive verb at the end. And yori, I feel, also means by, so it doesn't really add anything, but I guess maybe it must add a slight nuance change that we're not going to concern ourselves with because I don't think it's important. But yeah, ashiki chikara, that's evil power, so by evil power. And then okoku wa, the kingdom. Yami, oh gosh, okay, interesting. Yami is darkness. And then we've got another ni, meaning, I guess, by darkness again. Oh no, do you know what? I wonder if this ni doesn't mean by, because it doesn't have a verb in this part of the sentence. And then this ni is the by that combines with this word to have the passive verb be part of it. So I wonder if yori is essential in this part of the sentence to mean by, because we don't have a passive verb there. So ashiki chikara ni yori, by the evil power, the kingdom, okoku, yami ni tsutsumare, but with darkness or by darkness, and tsutsumu is to kind of package up, to kind of envelop, maybe, to surround, to parcel up, sort of thing. Tsutsumi is like a parcel that you will receive, a packaged thing. And tsutsumare, again, we've got this stem of the passive verb. The passive verb would be tsutsumareru. But we don't have the ru, we don't have a ta to make it past. We've just got the stem, which is going to allow this sentence to continue on into the next text box. So sort of enveloped by darkness, basically. Okay. Meun koko ni tsukita ka to omowareta sono toki. Okay, this is interesting. Meun. Meun is that just like one's kind of, is it like one's mortality or something? It's like, let's have a look. Meun. Fate, doom. Okay. Okay, interesting. Okay, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. I get sort of the right sort of idea of it, but I don't know how to explain it, really. But then we have koko, meaning at this place. Well, not even at this, it means this place. Or in this case, I guess, because we are talking kind of temporally, we're talking about time, it's at this point rather than this place. It does kind of double up in that way. It can be time-based, it can be location-based, but yeah, this place in time. And then ni, meaning at, so at this place in time, and then tsukita, which is the past tense of tsukiru, tsukiru. And tsukiru is to be used up. So meun, I guess I was kind of right with like mortality. Meun koko ni tsukita ka. Yeah, I think so. So yeah, kind of at this point has like mortality, been used up, and then ka, just kind of making it into like a usable question in the rest of the sentence. Like, has our life, I guess, come to an end? And then to omowareta, to again quoting that entire first bit, so that entire first bit can be thought, and literally be thought, because this is passive again. Omo would be to think. Omowareru is to be thought, it's passive, and omowareta is the past passive. So just as it was thought that, is this the end of life, sort of thing. And then sono toki, I don't feel like sono really does anything there. Like, you could just not have it and have toki, meaning time. So at the time when it was thought that, you know, is life over now? But I feel like sono just maybe emphasizes that at precisely that point, when we thought that, you know, life was, could this be it, sort of thing. Sono toki, that time. We have ryokui o mi ni matotta wakamono ga doko kara tomonaku arawaremashita. Okay. All right, that's good. So ryokui, just literally combining the word green with like kind of, this kind of means clothes on the whole, I suppose. Clothes as a whole. So green clothes. There are other words for clothes that get used more often, but I don't know. This works fine, I guess. So ryokui, green clothes, or just, you know, I haven't talked about o yet, but it's basically the object marker. So o just marks the noun or the thing or whatever that the verb like is done to. So that's kind of what o does. Yeah. Just, well, I suppose another point about o is that o can only be used with transitive verbs, because of course transitive verbs take objects, and o is the object marker. Your particle for intransitive verbs is usually ga. So for example, let's go with like eiga ga hajimaru would mean, you know, the movie started. Oh, sorry, the movie will start. Eiga ga hajimaru. Whereas if you said eiga o hajimeru, then that is, you know, someone will start the movie, because the transitive verb takes an object and therefore needs the object marker. Anyway. So, yeah, green clothes. O mi ni matotta wakamono. This, mi is body, basically, and then ni is to, I guess, so to the body, and then matou, I think, is the verb here. Let me just double check. Yeah, matou is to put on or to wear, or to be clad in, apparently. So it looks like they, in the English, they just took that dictionary definition and put it in the English version, because I think they do say clad in green or something, don't they? Anyway, excuse me. So to the body, kind of wore, because that's past tense. But in this case, this past tense, sometimes verbs are kind of relative tense in Japanese. To be honest, I don't know if that's really applying here, but in this case, it's just saying that the boy was wearing green, like at the time. He had already worn the green clothes. He had put them on, you know, before this point in the story or whatever. So even though this is simple past, that's how it can function sometimes. And then waka mono, literally just a combination of the kanji wakai, meaning young, and mono, meaning person, so wakamono, young person. Ga doko kara, doko is where, and kara is from, as we said. So from where, and then to mo naku. I feel like this is basically just saying tomo naku. Tomo naku is kind of like, what is tomo naku? Doko kara tomo naku. It's sort of like he came from such an unknown place that it's not even possible to ask the question of where he came from. I feel like it has that kind of vibe. Doko kara tomo naku. It's like this is like the. I feel like this is. I don't know what the word is actually. Anyway, it's like a form of nai. Nai means to not exist, and mo is like the inclusive particle. So it's like even not. So to not be able to even, I don't know, ask from where, because it was so out of nowhere that you can't even ask that. I think that's the vibe. I might be wrong there, but I think that's kind of the vibe it gives off. And then arawaremashita. Arawareru is to appear. What's the English for this? It's like to have appeared as if from nowhere, right? But yeah, the Japanese, basically means this. Well, it basically does mean the same thing. But if we really want to get deep into the function of the language, then I have to explain it in the way I just did. So yeah, a young person who wearing green clothes, basically on the body, so out of nowhere that it's impossible to ask from where, existed. Appeared. He appeared from that place. Excuse me. And then we have wakamono wa taima no ken o furui ashiki mono o fuji okoku ni hikari o tori modoshita to iimasu. So wakamono meaning again, young person, right? And then wa, just bringing up the topic of him. So we're about to talk about him. Taima. This word, I don't know if this really exists. It might be made up for Zelda, but the kanji together, they give enough of a enough meaning that you don't have to. It's not a special word that you have to have played Zelda to understand or anything, But taima, tai meaning sort of to drive away or to withdraw or to avoid, is what this character means. Let me just look that up. What is it again? Is it Shirizoku? Yeah, it's Shirizoku. Okay, good. I'm glad I got that. Where's the kanji, please? I like this dictionary, but it just throws every possible entry with every single conjugation in it at me, and it's just not working out. Okay, never mind. Kanji. Yeah, retreat, reject, expel, withdraw, repel, retire, resign. So all these different meanings. And taima, ma meaning basically, I suppose it kind of means devil, not devil, demon. Or evil, and stuff. So yeah, like a repels evil, and then no. Ken is a sword. So the repelling evil sword is probably quite a good, if literal, translation. And then o furui, and I think that's just the stem of the verb furu, furu, which is to brandish. Is that the word I mean? I don't know the English. To wield, essentially. Let's have a look. Furu. Yeah, to wield. Yeah. Okay, furui. And then ashiki mono o fuji. Yeah, so again, we're going with the stems of verbs to allow the sentence to continue on after the verb. And we have ashiki mono, so evil person. Fuji, meaning to seal. Fujiru is to seal. To seal, basically, to seal away, to seal up. And then okoku ni hikari o torimodoshita. So to the kingdom. Hikari is light. O, and then tori modosu is literally to take back. And modosu is the transitive of back. It's to sort of to put something back, to return something, whereas modoru is the sorry, did I get that muddled up? Modosu is the transitive of to return, so you return something, whereas modoru is the intransitive. So, for example, you can return home is an example of the intransitive version of return. 1 second. Oh, just moving me seat. And yeah, modoshita, that's just the past tense. So to the kingdom, he sort of took back light, or he returned light to the kingdom. And then to, just quoting, I think, the entire sentence, to be honest. And then imas, which is funny to me because imas is the polite form of you, meaning to say. But this isn't even passive. So it's kind of like, I don't know, I maybe it's saying like, we say that, you know, the young guy, this guy did all of that, we say that. Or I don't know if it's saying, you know, the people say that. I don't know if this is really even fine just to do passive or not. I feel like passive would work better because it would just be like, it is said that that happened. But anyway, never mind. And then toki o koete arawareta wakamono o tami wa toki no yusha to yobi tatae mashita. So toki meaning time, and then o just marking it as the object to which koeru is done. And koeru is to cross, like to cross something, to cross a bridge, to cross maybe like a lake or whatever, you know, to cross something kind of physically. And so this verb of crossing is happening to time. So he crossed time. And this is the te form. I think this te form of this verb is just combining it with the verb after it. And all of that is modifying wakamono, which is how you do this in Japanese. You just put the information before the noun that you want to modify. So it's kind of crossed time appeared young person, or of course in a more natural English order, the young person who crossed time, who appeared by kind of crossing time, by travelling through time. And then we've got all this information, which is kind of the point of the sentence, which I guess I'll need to talk about before I have to, before I try to give you a natural English translation, to be honest. But yeah, tummy. Tummy is just like it's like citizens, basically, the people. And then what, bringing that up as the topic now. And these are Japanese quote marks. They're sort of like, you know, on the sort of jutty bit is on the top on this side and it's on the bottom of this side, but they're like quote marks in Japanese. So toki no yusha is quoting what they called him. So that's literally time hero. Or if you want to look at it as kind of possessive, you could see it as, you know, the hero of time, which is how it gets translated into English, isn't it? And then this toe here, quoting it again, so that, you know, verbs like say and think and stuff can be done to it. yobi. Yobu is to, yeah, it's to call someone by a name, basically. Or it can also mean yobi can also be to actually to call out, to sort of shout something out. But yeah, or to summon. It can be like to summon someone. You would yobu someone is how you would summon them. But anyway, so they're saying they called him the hero of time. The citizens called him the hero of time, and then tatayaru. Give me 1 second here. I think that's doubling up, to be honest. Tatayaru is to. Oh, okay. No, never mind. It's not. To extol, which I don't know the meaning of, but to give praise. So I guess it's that's what extol means, probably, to give praise. Tataye mashita, and that's obviously polite. Well, I say polite. That's proper past, proper Japanese past. But yeah, I want to have a go at putting this whole sentence into a natural English order. We've kind of because kind of wants to start here. If we were doing it in English, it would be like the people. Oh man, it's in such a crazy order. Yeah, it's kind of like the people called the young, the young person who appeared by, traveling through time. They called him the hero of time, and then at the end we've just got kind of like, celebrated him or whatever. Maybe not quite worshipped, but celebrated. Oops. And then we have wakamono. Oh, sorry, I'll probably point at the kanji, shouldn't I? Wakamono no hanashi wa koto no ha de kataritsugare yagate densetsu to natta koro. So this is all just setting up. Basically, I think this whole sentence is... oh, actually, is it? Yeah, I think it is. I think it's all just setting up the koro. Koro is like around, it's sort of an approximate point in time. So it's literally kind of like around the time that the young, like the story of the young person kind of became legend. That's bad. Well, that's a good place to start, I think. Around the time that story became legend, and then we've obviously got the point of that setup coming next. And all of this stuff, I think, just explains, gives a little bit more information about how it came to be legend. So yeah, around the point in time that the story of the young one was like passed down through, I think this is like spoken word, koto no ha. It's like spoken words. Yeah, around the time the young one's story was passed down through spoken words, and kind of eventually is kind of yagate, I think, and eventually became legend. So as I said, around that time. We're going to get to the point of that whole setup. Okoku ni futatabi wazawai no arashi ga fuki aremashita. So kind of to the kingdom. Futatabi That's these two. Futata bi. That means like for a second time, basically. Like again for a second time. And then wazawai is like a disaster, I think, or like calamity or whatever. Like troubling, troubles and disasters and, things like that. Wazawai. So again, disaster, and then that. Arashi. Arashi is like a storm, basically. So a storm of disaster again to the kingdom. Ga here, fuki aremashita. And fuku is to blow, and areru, I think, is to just be kind of violent, to be... Oh, to be stormy, never mind, no. To be stormy, to be rough. Oh, kind of, to be rough. So yeah, to the kingdom, the storm of tragedy again, kind of, started to, you sort of, what do I say, wreak havoc, I guess, become lively again, to be stormy, yeah, bit of a funny translation, but... Okay. 勇者により封じられたかに見えたあの悪しきものが So we kind of got the sentence is going to finish continue on after, because this is kind of just setting up this person, this being. But what they do, or what the point of the whole sentence is, isn't said in this part. So, yusha ni yori, basically by the hero. Fujirareta is the past passive of fujiru, meaning to seal. So, to have been sealed, I guess. And then cut, again, I think is just kind of... That's a question sort of thing. Yusha ni yori fujirareta ka ni mieta. Okay, maybe it's like fujirareta ka ni mieta. Okay, when people say ni mieru, it usually means like you look like something, or you look as though something is a certain case is the case, or one example that stuck with me, because I learned quite a lot from this interaction with a student once, was they asked me how to translate nani jin ni mieru, which means nani meaning what, jin meaning person, and ni mieru meaning to appear as though. And I couldn't figure it out, because I also learned nani jin from this. But nani jin means, what kind of nationality, what ethnicity, basically, do I look like, is what the student was asking me to translate, because they wanted to use it in English or whatever. But I couldn't figure out what the Japanese meant. But yeah, so I wonder if in this case it's like by the hero, this just brings an element of questionability into it. Like, was sealed by the hero. Like, kind of, wasn't he sealed by the hero to have appeared as though? And then ano ashikimono ga, that bad being, ga. So that bad being. Chi no soko yori hai dashite kita no desu. So chi is like earth, basically. It's the ground, I suppose. And then not soko. Soko is the bottom, the very bottom. So from the bottom of the earth, and then yori, in this case, I guess, meaning like from the bottom of the earth. Haidasu. That's interesting. Haidasu. Haidasu, basically, the entry in my dictionary says to crawl or creep out of. But it's kind of funny to me that, like, dasu is used here because it's not. Dasu is the transitive verb, whereas this being is sort of, coming out of the bottom of the earth. Like nothing is bringing him out of the bottom of the earth. It's not like someone is physically dragging him. So it's just kind of funny to me that it takes a transitive verb in it. Like I would expect to see like haideru or haidetekita, but that's not the case. And also I notice it in like on warning signs on streets, because often there'll be signs on streets saying watch out for kids like jumping out, because they might do that, so drive slowly in case they do, sort of thing. But what's written on the signs is tobi dashi, which is obviously dashi again. Tobi meaning to jump, or tobu meaning to jump, and dasu meaning to get something out. Whereas the kids, they're not getting themselves out of something, or no one else is getting them out of a gap. No one else is dragging them out from behind cars suddenly into the road. So I would expect to see like tobi de kinshi. But it's not. For some reason, dasu is preferred. Tobi dashi. And in this case, haidashi. So I guess it's the same thing. They just prefer dasu for some reason. But yeah. Haidashite no desu. And this has the te form here, haidashite. And the te form with either iku or kuru. Iku would mean to like start from a certain point and go on to do something. And kuru is like, I guess, to start from a certain point and to come, so that something has happened. So haidashitekita, I feel like it just adds an element of long-termness to it. So he sort of, slowly came to have crawled out from the bottom of the earth, is kind of the vibe. Whereas if you use iku, it's like, kind of in the future, I will go on to have done this. It's kind of the effect it has. And this, of course, is kita, which is the past tense of kuru, meaning to come. Kuru is an exception verb, so it becomes kita, which is weird. It's a weird conjugation. It's unexpected. It's uncommon. So that's why it's an exception verb, because it conjugates oddly. I don't know how much more there is to do. Okoku no tami wa toki no yusha ga futatabi arawarete kureru to shinjite imashita. So here we have just the kingdom's citizens, the people of the kingdom, and then wa, bringing them up as the topic. Toki no yusha ga, so again, the hero of time. Futatabi, again. Arawarete kureru. So here we have again arawareru, meaning to appear, but we have the te form, arawarete. And another function of the te form is to put kureru after it, which adds a sense of, a kind of a sense of gratitude, or a verb being done for someone. And in this case, the people are wondering if the hero will appear for them. And because it's kind of a favour, because they're kind of grateful for that action, or they would be, they use kureru, which kind of has a meaning of sort of downwardly. And it's downward because they are thinking it. And in Japanese, if anyone ever does anything for you, it is always done downwardly from a higher position of status, downwardly to you. You are always below everyone else, grammatically. Whereas the opposite, were the opposite true, if you are doing something for someone else, because you grammatically judge them to be higher in status than you, because you always do, you would say like arawarete ageru, which kind of has this sense of upwardly towards people of higher status. So there's kureru and ageru, and things are always done kureru to you, and you always do things ageru for others. But yeah, that's another function of the te form, is to have either kureru or ageru after them. And then to, again, just kind of quoting it. And then shinjiru, which is to believe. But here we have shinjite, which is te form again. And then we have the past tense of iru, or the polite past tense of iru, which is imashita. And the past tense iru with a te form, it means that verb was being done. So they were believing that the hero of time would again appear for them. And yeah, that were believing obviously works grammatically in Japanese. Sounds odd in English, but it doesn't. Yeah, it's totally fine in Japanese. It works fine. Shikash is basically but, however. Yusha ga arawareru koto wa arimasen deshita. So the hero. And then this is a bit weird. I feel like you could just say araware masen deshita would be the hero did not appear. But arawareru koto wa, that was throwing me off. Arawareru koto wa arimasen deshita. Well, we've got this arimasen deshita, which means is, past negative of aru, meaning to exist. So this as a whole means did not exist. And arawareru koto, it's kind of like the phenomenon of appearing did not exist, which of course is very literal. But that's kind of what is being said here. But more basically, it's just saying, the hero did not appear. He did not do the phenomenon of appearing. Getting a bit literal again there, but there you go. And then ja'aku na chikara o mae ni shita karera wa nasu subemo naku tada inoru bakari. Bakari? That's bakari. I don't know if the sentence is ended there or if it's going to continue. Okay, well, we have ja'aku, which is basically evil, and then na, because it's a na adjective, ja'aku na, chikara, meaning power, so evil power, and then o mae ni shita karera. Mae ni shita, that's annoying. Well, kare is usually he or him, but with ra, it's kind of a pluralizer, and it's more neutral. It kind of means they, them. I guess Japanese just, prefers the male pronouns for when it's both men and women, which is, arguably a shame. But there you go. Karera. So the ra just kind of pluralizes it. So we have they. And mae ni shita, ja'aku na chikara o mae ni shita karera wa. Mae ni shita. Let me see. I doubt it's going to have an entry, but let's see. No, it doesn't have an entry. 前にした. I saw this in Majora's Mask. It was like Cafe was saying it about his wedding with Anju. He was saying that the wedding, I think it was like the wedding or前にして. I think it might mean that something is like, yeah, I think it's like something is just ahead of you, like in time, maybe. In this case, it might be physical. It might be that they are physically before. They are physically, or maybe it's, they have, yeah, maybe it's, yeah, I think it must be. They have like evil power, like physically before them. Or maybe even temporally. They have evil power just, you know, is going to get them at some point soon. Perhaps it's that. 前にした彼ら. So with evil about, you know, before them, they, なすすべもなく, which I guess is just some kind of desperate sort of meaning word. なすすべもない, at one's wit's end. Interesting. So we've just desperation, I guess, is basically what nasu sube mo naku means. That's interesting. So the kanji here, the kanji for this word is nasu, meaning like to be of use or to serve as or whatever. And then sube is the word for technique or resources or skills or whatever. And then naku is just nai. It's just nai, basically, to not exist. So I guess it's literally like mo is like an inclusive particle, so it's like, I guess in this case it means like all, like absolutely all of techniques that would serve them do not exist. So in that sense it means they are desperate. They've got nothing that they can do to save themselves, maybe. But yeah, nasu sube mo naku, just like desperate at the end, nothing left to do. And then tada, meaning kind of only or merely, is what tada does. And then inoru is to pray. And then bakari means sort of nothing but, basically. So it's kind of doubling up. They merely did nothing, or had nothing to do but pray. Yeah. And then tsui ni mizu kara no meun o kamigami ni yudaneru koto ni shimashita. Excuse me. So tsui ni, I feel, is that's like finally, right? Tsui ni. Yeah, finally, at last. I always have to look this up for some reason. I don't know why. I just doubt my understanding of it. So tsui ni, yeah, like finally, at the end, I guess. Mizukara is like one's own or oneself. So oneself's fate. Meiun is doom or fate or mortality or life. Those sorts of words. Or kamigami ni, so to the gods. Yudaneru, that's like to decide, I guess, isn't it? To determine, maybe? No, it's not, sorry. To entrust to. So yudaneru is to entrust to. So they entrusted their fates to the gods. Actually, no, sorry, that's wrong. Yudaneru. Koto. So this is, well, let's start here. Koto ni suru basically means to decide to do something. Koto ni suru. And obviously this is polite past, so it's shimashita. So it's basically just they decided to entrust their fate to the gods in the end. Excuse me. And then その後、王国がどうなったのか知る者、知る者はいません。So yeah, その後, literally like that, after, or after that, you sort of do it in reverse order, right? Kind of. After that, 王国が, so the kingdom, どうなった. どう is like how, and なる is to become. So it's like how became. This is past tense, right? どうなる, どうなった. So how became, or less literally, you know, what happened. No cut. The no just kind of adds a bit more inquisition into the question. That's kind of, no does that a lot. It also does the reverse, where if you use it in a question, no, not in a question, sorry, in a statement, it's more explanatory than than inquisitive. But yeah, when we've got ka here, kind of turning the whole thing into a question so that this part of the sentence can happen to it, sort of thing. So after that, what happened to the kingdom? And then shiru meaning to know, mono meaning person. So as I said before, you kind of modify nouns by just putting the information before it. So know people, or less literally in reverse, it's like people who know. What, just bringing them up as a topic, I guess. Imasen, the negative, the polite negative, sorry, of iru, meaning to exist. So do not exist. People who know do not exist. People who know what happened to that kingdom after that do not exist. So no one knows what happened to that kingdom. 国の記憶は消えようとも、oh God 伝説は風に乗り、今も息づいています。Yep, so 国の記憶. We basically have countries, and then kyoku is like memories, basically. So I guess memories of the kingdom. And then what, just bringing it up as the topic. Kiyeyo tomo. I'm annoyed that this has happened because I don't really get it. Kiyeyo tomo. Densetsu wa kaze ni nori ima mo ikizuite imasu. Kiyeyo. I'm confused by that, really. Kiyeyo tomo. I'll have to ask about that, I think. Let me get a screenshot. There we go. If I get a screenshot, I can ask about it. And hopefully you can check the comments. Sorry, check the comments, and I will have, hopefully, written it there. Written my friend's explanation. Kuri no kyoku wa kiyeyo tomo. So we'll forget about that for now. But kieru is to disappear. And that's intransitive. Just in case you're wondering. Excuse me. Yeah, kiyeyo tomo. Densetsu wa. So densetsu is legend, as you might know. Oh, we didn't go over the name of the game. The name of the game is Zeruda no Densetsu, which is, of course, Legend of Zelda. So Densetsu is legend. Densetsu wa kaze ni nori. Kaze is the wind. Noru is to sort of board or to ride or to get onto. And just a point, the particle you use with noru is ni. I don't know why. I don't know why you can't use o. But it's pretty safe if you're using the verb noru. The particle that goes with it is ni. So the thing that is ridden, the thing that gets boarded, will usually take the particle ni after it, like this, and then noru. But yeah, that's obviously the stem of that verb that says nori. just to allow the sentence to continue on afterwards. And then ima mo, meaning also now or even now, perhaps. And then ikizuku. What's ikizuku? I guess just let's have a look actually. So I'm not sure. Ikizuku, to breathe. Oh, to live. Okay, to live is one definition. So I guess, yeah, it's just, the legend now also lives on. Ikizuite imasu. And here we have the te form of that, ikizuite, and then the polite form of iru, which is imasu. And when this is just, imasu, combined with a te form, it just makes it sort of present continuous. So it is living. Even now, it is living. Aru shima de wa otoko no ko ga ookiku naru to midori no koromo o kise iwao fushu ga arimasu. Okay. So aru shima de wa, which is literally like an exists island, like on, basically. On an island that exists, or in more natural English, on an island, on a certain island. Otoko no ko ga ookiku naru to. And this is basically otoko meaning male, or man, or boy. And then no ko, just meaning like a child of maleness, or a boy basically. Otoko no ko is boy, isn't it? Ga oki is big. Okiku, basically combining naru with the adverb form of e adjectives, in this case from oki to okiku. That just means that, well, in this case, naru is well, not even in this case, naru is to become. So combined with the adjective big, it just means to become big. And then this to is kind of like, it kind of works quite well because to, excuse me, because to kind of means and in Japanese as well anyway, doesn't it? It means and. You say like otoko no ko to onna no ko to, I don't know, sensei to, like to means and it's kind of lucky that we can use it as kind of a conditional in English as well. Were you to say, run late and you will miss the train, it's kind of the same. You can take that sentence, run late and you will miss the train, means if you are late you will miss the train. And this is kind of the same here. It's like on a certain island, boys become big, and so therefore, if or when when the boys become big, if they become big, midori no koromo o kise, which is just basically green clothes again. Kise, I'm wondering if kise is sort of to. I wonder if it's kind of causative. Yeah, it is to put clothes on someone. So they are kind of, I don't know, made to wear green clothes, basically. I don't want to word that any differently because it will start to sound a bit creepy. But yeah, they are made to wear green clothes. And then iwao fushu ga arimasu. Yeah, this iwao is to sort of celebrate. And this is kind of modifying fushu, which is a kind of a custom, I guess. So a custom of celebrating, I suppose. Ga arimasu, meaning just, it exists. A custom of celebrating exists on this certain island. Sougen ni wataru shin ryoku no kaze o kokoro ni motoi senpu no gotoku ken o unarase yami wo tatsu. Good lord, that is a weird sentence. Okay, interesting. So, oh my gosh. So I think this is like, basically all of this sentence up until kaze is modifying kaze. So sogen is like a field, basically. And then ni wataru, I guess, is just like to cross over the fields. I believe. To cross over, to go across, to extend, to cover, to range, to span. I think it's just to kind of, yeah, to cross over, so to go over the fields. Shin ryoku is literally like new green, no kaze. So I wonder if it's just like, is that like spring, like the spring wind or something? Shin ryoku no kaze. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. But yeah, kaze is wind. So the wind the wind of Shin ryoku, whatever that means, that crosses over the fields, or meaning the object, marking the object, which is the wind. Kokoro ni motoi, which I believe is sort of like, I don't know, to wear in the heart, or to, yeah, just to kind of, you know, to have it in their hearts, I suppose, less literally. Yeah, to have that wind in their hearts. And then that's the stem, of course. Let me just check that. Matoi. It was to wear, wasn't it? Kind of. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Don't know. Just getting a bit sort of, you know, getting a bit poetic on me, basically. And then senpu no gotoku. Well, gotoku mean, I think it's like a verb to mean like to resemble or to be like. And senpu is whirlwind, commotion, sensation, hullabaloo. Okay, well, whirlwind is like the the first one, and I think the most applicable one here. Senpu no gotoku, so like a whirlwind, or I guess like a powerful wind, perhaps less literally. Ken o unarase, unaru? Unaru, I think your base verb is unaru. Oh, interesting. Unaru is to groan, to moan, to roar, to howl, to growl, to hum, to buzz, to sough. S-O-U-G-H. I don't even know that word. So I think it's like, yeah, senpu no gotoku, so like a hurricane. That's like the swords unarase. Okay, to make their swords kind of, I guess, howl like a hurricane is kind of what's going on here. And that's the stem of the verb again. Therefore, allowing the sentence to continue on after it. But also, actually, this is causative, which is, well, the base verb is unaru, but I think that's intransitive. That's an intransitive verb. And so if you make it causative, which is basically changing it from unaru into unaraseru, then it means that you cause something else to do that verb. So the swords are being made to kind of to buzz like a hurricane or something. And then yami o tatsu. Tatsu is like to cease something, to stop something, kind of to cut something, perhaps. And so it's like to cut or to end darkness. Yeah, bit of a crazy sentence there. And then, densetsu no wakamono no you ni yuki o shiru mono ni nare to negai o kome. Interesting. So, where do we start with this, man? We've got ano, which is kind of a very distancing version of sono. Kono is like this whatever. Sono is that whatever, and ano is another that, but it implies distance and unfamiliarity from both the speaker and the listener, whereas sono kind of refers to things near the listener and stuff. Ano is more distant, basically, but yeah, I should probably start here. Yo ni is kind of like, and then that's related to the wakamono. So like the young person of the legend, of those legends, is sort of what's going on here. And then we've got yuki o shiru mono ni nareto. Yuki is basically courage or bravery, and then shiru is to know. And that's kind of those two, that's part of the sentence is modifying mono. So, like, again, the same sort of example as before, a person who knows courage. And then ni is just an essential particle in this case, combined with naru, meaning to become. So it's, and nare is the imperative form. So rather than being, so rather than just being naru, meaning like become, it's the imperative. It's like become a person who knows courage. And then to, making that a quotable piece of information. And then negai or kome. So negai is a wish, and this whole bit before it is kind of what the wish is. It's like quoting this and making that into the wish. So, and then okome. Komeru is like to, it's like to put something into something else. And it's often used in the sense of to put love into a gesture, or to put a certain intent into an action, or to put a certain intent into a gesture, or, or something like that. So in this case, it's like to put that wish, such wish, the wish of having those boys know courage like the young one from those legends. They put that wish into something which might come up next. I think we're out of time, actually. That's the end of the sentence. Okay, the end of the thing. Okay, so I think it was like, they were just kind of infusing that wish into their actions of, dressing the boys in green, and all of the customs that they have had that wish infused into it. They just wished that the boys would know courage and, like the boy of legend, and that they would kind of defeat darkness with swords that kind of yell with like a hurricane. It's all kind of poetic-ish, but there you go. All right, well, that was a bit longer than I had planned, although not really longer than I had expected, to be honest. We've only done the first cutscene, but that's that. As I said at the start, there should be a text document with all of the text in case it's useful to select and copy and, you know, put into dictionaries or whatever. At least then it will be kind of written somewhere you can select it and copy it and, you know, do as you will with it. Yeah, so, you know, use that if you want. Thanks to you for watching. Thanks to my Patreons. I don't know what the word is. But yeah, like if you want, sub if you want. Yeah, I hope it's been worth watching, and I hope to catch you next time.